In this video, I'm going to talk about the types of chords that are used in pop music for complete beginners. And if you watch until the end of this video, I'm going to share with you a nice little surprise to help you continue your piano learning journey. Again, this video is assuming that you are seeing any kind of video for piano for the first time and you want to begin your journey. This video is for you. So before I begin, I do need to bring to your attention that we are working with the white keys today. So if you don't know what the white keys are, C, which is, the letter C, is this key, which is the white key to the left of the two black keys. And that always stays in place. So after C, it goes D like the alphabet, E, F, G, and then A, and then B, and then C. Right? So what we're going to do is we are going to work with two types of chords, and we're going to work on an exercise that I'm going to have you practice so you can start playing chords that are used in pop music. So there's a type of chord progression that is used in probably 30% of pop songs, and there's another chord progression that's used in like another 30% of pop songs, and that's why most pop songs sound the same. If they do sound the same to you, there's no mistake with that. They are using, for the most part, the same chord progressions. So once I'm going to show you these chord progressions and how they break down theory-wise, you'll kind of have a better understanding of what's happening with pop music and be able to practice this on your own. So the first type of chord that is used in pop music is the major chord. Now, I've done some videos in the past about these types of chords, but I'm giving it an approach where we're going to actually practice it in a chord progression and in pop music. So a major chord, there are a few ways to reference what a major chord is and what makes it different than other types of chords, which I will get into in a second. So from a listening standpoint, a major chord sounds happy, right? So it would be something like this. It might sound something like this, right? It may sound something like this. Or it could sound something like this, right? So all of these sound happy. So if a song is in the major key, anything that's referring to major, whether it's a song that's in a major key, a major chord, a major scale, it's referring to songs or styles that sound happy. And there's a major chord, right? And I'm just giving you these examples so you can kind of start to train your ear on how major chords sound like. Now, in terms of the technical side, in terms of how you build a major chord, there are a couple of ways to build a major chord, but I'm going to give you like the super technical way. So if I were to build what's called a C major chord, right, where C is the root, you would count 4 half steps and then 3 half steps. And what a half step is, and there's other names for it, if I was to go from C to C sharp, or from this key to the very next key, that is a distance of a half step. So this would be 1 half step, and then from here to this key would be another half step. So you would count from the root, you would count 4 half steps. So if I start with C, I would go 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps, 4 half steps, and then I have the next note. And then from this note to get to the final note of the chord, I would go 3 half steps. So from here, I would go 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps. And then I have a major, what they call a major triad, because a triad has 3 notes, right? So if I was to play a chord progression that is very popular in pop music, one might sound like this. And I'll give you a tutorial later on in the video on how to play this, but I just want you to listen very carefully. Does that already sound like a song that you know? 'Cause girls like you run around with guys like me to sundown. When I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Right? So there's a ton of songs that use this chord progression. So that with that, and the chord progression just means a series of chords. So I just played 4 chords. This one, this one, this one, and this one, right? So there are 3 major triads in the sequence of chords that I just played. The first one, which I just showed you how to play, right? And then this chord, and again, I'm going to give you a breakdown on how to play these chords, but for now, I want you to listen to how each of the major chords sound. This is another major chord. It sounds happy. Ba 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 ba, right? The next chord is actually not a major chord, but I will play it because it is a part of the chord progression. I will be introducing this in a second. But the final chord is also a major triad. So listen to how it sounds happy. Ba 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 ba, right? So major chord, major chord, not a major chord. This has a little bit of a different, as my other friends who are musicians would say, a different color to it. So it doesn't sound happy. I'll get to that in a second. But this final chord does sound happy, therefore it is a major chord. So if you notice, even like with the other chords that I'm playing, the other major chords like this one, right? G is the root, and then it has the same calculation. 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps, 4 half steps. And then from here, 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps, right? So even this chord that I was playing has the same 4 half steps and 3 half steps. So that is what a major chord sounds like, and that's how they show up in a pop chord progression. Before I get into the other type of chord and how that is also incorporated, I do want to bring to your attention that I do have a free piano in 3 steps video where it gives you the 3 things that you can use to get your foot in the door to learn piano as a complete beginner. To access that video, it's free. The link is in the description box. You can just sign up for it, and the video will be immediately accessible to you. So before you go away from this video, make sure that you click the button, not the button, the link in the description box to access that video. So with the minor triad, right? If you notice off the top, as I'm playing this chord, it already has a different kind of gloomier, sad sound to it, right? So if I was to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right, and my students, they love when I play this version because it sounds kind of cool. If I was to play it in a minor key, right, it sounds a bit spookier. Right? So you hear it how it already has a different kind of taste to it than major. Right? So I'm going to show you what a minor triad or a minor chord looks like in terms of how you build it, and I'm going to show you how it shows up in the chord progression that I was playing earlier in pop music. So if I was to play a C minor triad, so C major has C, E, and G, right? Now this one happens to have a black key in it, and before you do ask the question, a minor triad doesn't always have to have a black key, and major triads don't always have all white keys. Sometimes you may have a major triad that has some black keys in it, and you have some minor triads that have all white keys in it, which you will see shortly. So if I was to build a minor triad, as opposed to having 4 half steps and then 3 half steps, it would be the reverse. I would start with 3 half steps and then 4 half steps. So if I was to start with C, I would count 3 half steps first. I would go from C, and I go 1, 2, 3. So you hear how it already sounds different? And then from there, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4. And that 3, 4 calculation will give you a minor triad no matter where you are on the piano. Right? So again, it sounds gloomy and sad. It almost has like a Halloween type of theme to it. So where does that minor triad show up in the chord progression that I just played for you? So this one is a major triad. And again, I want you to listen to how it sounds different, right? So major chord, major chord. What about this chord that I was playing? If you hear it has that gloomy sound, that is the minor chord right there, right? So the third chord that I played in the sequence is the minor chord. So if you see how the calculation, if I were to start with this note, which is A, right? I got 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps, and then 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps, 4 half steps. Now I have a minor triad, and they happen to be all white keys, right? So major chord, major chord, minor chord, major chord, and I would just loop those around. So how do I actually play this? And this is going to be a good exercise for you. You can do this with the left hand or the right hand. So the first chord that I played is called the C major triad. The way you play it is you're going to use your thumb on C, your middle finger is going to play that E, and then your pinky is going to play G all at the same time. The next chord that I played is what's called a G major triad. So G being the root. Whatever the name of the chord is, so let's say if someone says a G major 7th chord, that means G is the root. So we're going to bring our thumb down to G. We're going to take our middle finger, our third finger, and play B. And then we're going to take our pinky and play D. Then we're going to move up to now the A minor triad. So now we have our thumb will be on A, which is the root. The third finger, the middle finger, is going to be on C, and the pinky is going to be on E. And then the final chord that we're going to play, we're going to move down a little bit more to what is called the F major triad. So now F is the root. We're going to bring our thumb to F. Our third finger is going to play A, and our fifth finger is going to play C. So if I were to play all 4 chords the same, one after the other, we have thumb on C, third finger on E, fifth finger on G for C major triad. We're going to move down to the G major triad, thumb on G, third finger on B, fifth finger on D. We're going to slide up to the A minor triad, thumb on A, third finger on C, fifth finger on E. And then the final chord, which is the F major triad, F for thumb, third finger for A, and pinky for C. So I want you to practice this chord progression and just train your ear to hear the difference between the major and the minor. So it goes major, major, minor, major. So this is something that you can practice. If you want to practice the left hand, it would be the same notes, except you would just have the pinky at the bottom, the middle finger in the middle, and the thumb at the top. So this will be something that you can practice for a while to help you familiarize yourself with not just the difference between major and minor, but just familiarizing yourself with the chords that are used in actual pop songs. So for my surprise, I do want to share with you a video that I cover on how to find the major key of any song. So if you're listening to a song and you're trying to figure out what key that song is in to help you figure out the notes, I have a video that is going to be placed at the top right of this video that breaks down exactly how to do that. So if this video was helpful, if this tutorial was helpful to you, please like, comment, share. Be sure to subscribe. Turn on the notification bar. I do post a video once or twice a week, so I won't overwhelm you with a bunch of notifications. You don't have to worry about that. And if you do have any questions or feedback, please put them in the comment section. I usually respond to my comments whenever I have a chance. So just make sure that you put your questions there, and I'll be more than happy to help you. So thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.